welcome to episode 17, I think it is, of Life Isn't Over. I'm your host, Jeff, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about overtraining / injury. The last episode that I did, I thought that I was overtraining, and luckily, instead of running in the morning but at night, I guess it gave my muscles a chance to warm up and to allow me to run. It was a really great run. If you saw any of my tweets, it was a beautiful night, and it was really a great run. However, yesterday morning I got up, wasn't feeling so hot. The shins and calves were achy, and a friend of mine suggested I get some shoes, and I thought, it's too soon. I've only got about 275 on these shoes. But because I overpronate, meaning I've got very flat feet, I wear orthotics, but the way that my foot is designed, it comes down hard on the back edge, and then it rolls inward, but it causes a lot of wear and tear on the shoes. Then I'm prone for some injury if I'm not careful about changing out my shoes. So I want to talk about 3 things today that you can take a look at for avoiding injury, and one of them is ice. The other product that I would, I don't know if I would recommend it yet, but it's something I purchased. It's called the Stick. It's kind of a nice marketing term. What do we want to call this thing? I know, let's call it the Stick. Creative. And then the last thing, of course, is we want to talk about the good old shoes. So let's start with the ice. And one of the really easy tools to use when you're icing down your leg or your arm or what have you is just grabbing ice and popping it on your affected area. You could put it inside of a washcloth or inside of saran wrap or whatever. There are actually a couple of other tools you can use in your freezer. One of them is actually a bag of vegetables, and you can actually use this with an ace bandage, wrap it around your knee, your calf, your shin, what have you. You can use this a couple times and probably still use the vegetables, but if you freeze, refreeze, it's not so good. Try it. Okay, so the other thing I would recommend is the good old Dixie cup. And my kids love SpongeBob, so I got this for them. But you basically fill this cup up with water and throw it in the freezer, and by overnight or whatever, then you've got a nice frozen cup. And then just by peeling this off, you are able, got to be careful about peeling it too much like I just did. But assuming I would have done this correctly, you end up with a nice chunk of ice like so. And then you can just rub it on the affected area over and over, and end up, I think for me anyway, what I do is I'll get the area nice and cold, which stops any swelling, and then I can kind of dig into the tissue a little bit, just kind of push it a little harder and work out anything. And it's amazing, it doesn't take very long, maybe 5-10 minutes. It's amazing how quickly the ice impacts the area, and if you do that maybe 2 or 3 times, depending upon the injury, within any given day, you'll find some pretty fast results. So the Stick, again, I'm going to, if they're watching this, I know that very highly successful company, a lot of people use this, but how hilarious to come up with something and call it, let's call it the Stick. So that's what they did. But as you can see, it's basically a roller with these adjustable little beads, what have you. And basically just by rolling it over the muscle area, it really helps with flexibility. It works out some of the pressure points that you might have. So we'll do some video here in a bit and show you what that's all about. And then I won't get the shoe box up because I already threw it down. But I think new shoes are very vital, very important. It's always good to take a look at your shoes and see what kind of a tread you've got on them. Because again and again, at least for me, an overpronator, if my shoes aren't up to speed, then it really affects my performance and can really cause some major problems, which I'm sure anyone who's a runner would agree. You have to have some really good shoes, especially if you're doing distance running, higher mileage running. Shoes are just vital. So with that said, let's take a closer look at some of these items. This is my current pair of Asics Gel Kayano 15s. And who cares about the color, right? I mean, if you're a real runner, it doesn't matter what they look like, just how well they perform. These particular shoes have about 275 miles on them. Doesn't matter how old they are, although if your shoes do sit in the closet for too long of a time, they say it can break down. I don't know about that. But let's take a look at, in particular, this area here. Because I overpronate, my feet typically come down like so and then roll in. So seeing a worn pattern on these shoes is fairly typical for me. So you can see, in fact, the part of the tread, there would normally be two little dots just like these. Mine are totally gone. Go figure. And then you can see on the edge, see how it's really wearing down. So yesterday I went to the shoe store, and here's a fun comparison that Thad at Runner Dude would probably laugh at a little bit, the old versus the new, even though these are only a couple months old. But again, if you take a look at the wear on this spot, and then you take a look at the new pair, obviously, there's about a 1/4 inch in addition on this side. And I got to think, like I've experienced in the past, when this area does get worn down on my shoe, that's when I start to have some ankle and hip problems. Okay, so with the stick, basically just grasp the handles. You can either use a traditional grip or underhanded, and roll it slowly up and down on the muscle. Make sure that the muscle is relaxed, and basically just work that over about 20, I think it's about 20 cycles is what they recommend. You can get a closer grip to really put some more pressure on there. So I hope that you have learned something along with me. Again, if you have any questions, tips, you want to challenge me with something, I may not know the answer, but I'm going to find it out for you somehow, some way, and we can all learn together. So please shoot me an email at jpickett1968@gmail.com, or leave a comment in the comment area, and we'll figure again something out together. Yeah, something like that. All right. Well, it is 4th of July today, so happy 4th of July Independence Day to everybody. And with that said, I'm just going to take a break, watch the Tour de France. I already checked out some Wimbledon. One of the Williams sisters won, so I'm not going to spoil that. Okay, so with that said, I will stop jibber-jabbering. I hope you have a great day, and until then, we'll see you out on the trails.